Hey everybody, welcome to John D Podcast. I'm your host, John D. Miller. Welcome to episode number 54, everybody. Number 54, numero 54 in the old Espanol language. That's right. 882 going on. 883 at least days by the time you hear this. No booze. No booze. No booze. What's going on, everybody? How are yous? How are yous? How are y'alls? How's your summer going, huh? I had the song stuck in my head yesterday. What's the one? Lazy. It's a Nat King Cole song. Some of you'll know this. Some of you people are going, "What you been smoking, John?" No, it's a song by Nat King Cole. It's called "Lazy, Hazy, Crazy Days of Summer." Came out on an album back in like the 60s, 63. And it wasn't written by him. It was written by somebody else. He didn't write a lot of his own stuff. Not disparaging him, but it's Lazy, Hazy, Crazy Days of Summer. I thought of it because they were talking about the Canadian wildfires. That's why it popped in my head. It's like, yeah, those Canadian wildfires. Lazy, Hazy, Crazy. Yeah, that makes this, it sounds like a pot song, doesn't it? That's what I think it is. I think it sounds like a pot song. But hey, Canada, my Canadian people, when we said, send some of that Canadian smoke down here, that is not what we were talking about. Yeah, Lazy, Hazy, Crazy Days of Summer. It was funny. It's got some funny lyrics to it, actually. To quote it, fill your basket full of sandwiches and weenies and lock up the house, now you're set. And on the beach, you'll see girls in their bikinis, as cute as ever, but they never get them wet. Yeah, you ever do that? Ladies, most of my audience is men. However, I got some female listeners. You ever do that? You ever buy a bathing suit? Don't want to go in the water. I remember one time, this is literally like 25 years ago, I was trying to get with this chickie, and she wanted to go to the beach. And the closest beach was, God, like a real beach. She wanted I want to go to like a real beach, like a real beach, like sand and waves. I'm like, well, that all depends on how big, what you call a wave, right? Because we've been to the beaches sometimes, and it's not really a beach. We're like, yeah, here's the beach. I'm like, it's fucking dirt, and then there's water. It's not a beach. Well, I mean, it's a beach. It's a beach. In a technical term, yes. But there's not, sand fleas and shark teeth and shells, You can call something a beach just because of the name, right? The Yugo. In every sense of the word, the Yugo was a car, but you can't. I mean, you're not going to compare it to a Mercedes. People go to these shitty beaches. It's a beach. The wave is 2 inches tall. How the hell do you think that's a beach? Got to get some curls on those waves, right? Some tubes. Yeah. If your waves don't have tubes, you're not at a fucking beach. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But anyway, this girl wanted to go to the beach, and I went to take her to the beach. I didn't have any money. It was at least a couple hours, right, to get to a real one. Like, really, like a real beach. Okay. Worked some extra hours at the ice rink where I worked, Fairfax Ice Arena. Saved up some money. I was like 22 or 20. I said 25 years. I would not. Anyways, I was around that age. Early 20s. So I saved money for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I know, right? Big spender. And we went to a beach over in Maryland. I don't remember what beach we went to. It wasn't Rehoboth. Was it Rehoboth? God damn it. Yeah. My memories of that time in my life are sometimes blurry. Anyways, went to the beach. We get there. She making all these demands before we even get to the beach. Well, I'd like to have some food, and we're gonna need snacks and something maybe serious to eat on the beach, and of course, something cold to drink. So we'll need ice, and then of course drinks, and then we'll need. Okay. I don't even know why I was so worried about taking this girl to the beach, but I did. Like, she had one of those long shirts on, right? That every woman owns one of. It's for sleeping or the beach. Yeah, either one. Either one. And she took that off, and she had a really nice bathing suit on. Looked good on her. And I'm like, okay, let's go get in the water. Because at the time, I was young. I mean, I used to swim in the ocean above my head. I would just swim out. Never in a million years would I do that shit now. Never. I was like, all right, let's go get in the water. She went, What, huh? What, Yeah, no. What? She literally spent the whole day. She would walk into like her knees. And at one point, a wave kind of came and like splashed up on her suit. And she, maybe, I don't know. This is blue. It was blue and had like white, I remember polka dots. I don't know what the fuck you call them. Yeah, it was a one piece. It wasn't a bikini or anything. Yeah, but she got all upset. It was a little fancy. Yeah, she went to the real beach. And that was it. She wouldn't get wet. Yep, the lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. Got the heat dome going on. That sounds like it would be more fun, doesn't it? Right? Why can't we get one of those? Can we order a heat dome for winter? Does somebody sell that anywhere? Yeah, I'd like to book your heat dome for the second week of January. That'd be awesome. Actually, could do the third week as well because that's my birthday. Yeah, could I do that? Can I get your heat dome in January? Is that possible? Who books a ticket to the heat dome? Can we do that? Hey, you guys, I was thinking maybe in January we'll go to the heat dome. What do you think? You want to do it? I'm just saying heat dome. It sounds like a wrestling event or something. It doesn't sound like it's a catastrophic weather event, which it's been nuts. There's no such thing as global warming. What? Are you sure? I don't know about that. Anyways, I hope you guys are staying cool out of that. And then, of course, I was talking about the wildfires up in Canada. Guys, listen. To all my Canadian friends. Okay, we said send some smoke down. We weren't talking about that kind of smoke. Okay, but right? That'd be my monologue joke. If I had a show to do a monologue on. I guess this is my monologue, right? I should make it funnier. Anyways, which of course we don't have. Nobody has new late night shows. I know summertime is known for being the rerun central, right? But now we have all this streaming content. There's new stuff all the time. But, the late night shows, the Seth Meyers and the Colberts and Conan's not on anymore, but all them people we grew up watching. That was one of my favorite things in the summer was really being able to stay up until like 11, 30, 12, whatever, watching some good old Johnny Carson, right? With Ed McMahon, all that shit. Right. Oh. If you slow down Ed McMahon's laugh, he sounds like Jabba the Hutt. I was really like too was when they would come back on Johnny Carson. That would be the thing. They were all reruns, so I would get to see ones from like Christmas and, one of my favorite things when I was a kid, I remember watching. I don't know why I thought it was funny, but they would come back from commercial, and Johnny Carson would be putting his cigarette out like on the thing, like he just dude shit. Like I remember one time being a kid, he was putting it out in the ashtray. They probably had one of those big orange glass ashtrays that were synonymous with the time, right? They made about 1.5 trillion of those things. And he was looking like he was putting it down in there, and he's literally like blowing this mouth like, right, like we're back here with Miss Brooke Shields. Like, whoa, why are you smoking around Brooke Shields? She was young back then. Well, and we're back now with Farrah Fawcett. I can't do it, Johnny Carson. I tried when I was a kid. I could never get it. But I'm not a good impressionist. I had a joke about it. I was telling my son the other day because I was doing a little silly impression. I said, I am not an impressionist. I am a mimic. And if you look up mimic in the dictionary, it says shitty impressionist. So I think I might have done that joke before. But of course, we don't have new late night television, whether they were on vacation or not, which I do say that they take a lot of fucking vacations for these people who host these late night shows. I know that they do 5 nights a week. I get it, people. I know it's and the thing is, you only see, an hour of the show. You don't see however long it takes to tape it, because they will tape things over. They'll do intros for the show, like the band playing the song. They'll do it like 3. applause things. They'll film the audience just clapping, all kinds of shit that you don't see. Now, the host may not be out there the whole time, but I bet you money they're out there for more than an hour hosting the show. I have at times partaken of like behind the scenes footage of stuff like from different shows. SNL, actually, if you ever get to see any of the behind the scenes stuff about that and the costume changes and the scene, like the stage setting and stuff, it's actually pretty interesting. I'm sorry, the stage dressing is what it is. I remember one time I was in LA with executive producer Tommy, and we were out on the set. I never told this story. Dang it, Thomas, you got to get your butt on here. Should I tell the story? I'm going to fucking tell it. No, well, it pertains to what I was talking about. Tom and I were out in LA, and through different connections that he had, we were on the set of General Hospital. No joke. We were on the set, and we'll explain. We'll tell more about the story maybe, but we were on the set of General Hospital, and one of our friends that lives out there, a guy by the name of Jim Tucker. If you're out there, Jim, we love and miss you, man. We don't know where he's at, but anyways, Jim was with us, and we're sitting there, and Tom's looking at something on one of the sets, and I'm standing there back, and then behind us is like a whole entire, like a living room den type of setup for, something. And it had a wet bar. I had a bar right there. And in this container, this glass container, were ice cubes, but they were plastic ice cubes. And Jim takes the top off and reaches in and starts, picks up one of the ice cubes. It looked real, but it was not. And this guy just walked over and said, "Excuse me, boys, could you not touch the dressing?" So that's where I learned that it's called stage dressing. At least this guy called it that. Yeah. "She's not touched the dress." Jim is, "Okay." And he just put it down. And I was like, "Yeah, quit touching shit." Yeah, Jim, if you're out there, man, email me, johndpodcom@gmail.com. You probably won't hear this, but if you do, by some chance, hit me up, dude. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So, yeah, I know that in the summertime, these guys tend to take a lot of breaks, and that's fine. That's whatever. I mean, like I said, they probably work a lot more hours than we see, and that's okay, and that's fine. Not to mention other stuff they do, right? I mean, they got a life, but they do seem to get a lot of fucking vacation days. Point being, regardless of what they were doing, regardless of how much time they would be taking off, they would be making at least some new episodes right now, right? I think they kind of rotate them through and stuff like that. I mean, I do. That's the other thing about Carson back in the day. Remember, that was when you got to see all the great summertime hosts like Joan Rivers, guest hosts, like Letterman used to do it, Gary Shandling, all these different people that used to come on there and guest host, and it was awesome. It was so awesome, and Johnny would be in Mexico. He'd be, I think was it Cabo? Something like that? Something. Puerto Vallarta? Whatever it was. Yeah, he would go to Mexico for like 2 months. Here's a show. And that's it. He'd be out, and he'd be doing that. And then, yeah, so you got these great guest hosts, and that was so cool. But even then, they would still be making new episodes, which means writers would still be writing jokes and routines and whatever for these other guest hosts. I mean, they would still be making new episodes, but we're not going to get those right now, are we? No. And this is part of the thing. I actually recorded I've been working on this episode for forever. And one of the reasons why this one episode that I have recorded of this, that just content. And one of the big things that I talked about in the first part of this podcast that I had recorded already was about the WGA strike, which I fully support, by the way. I'm going to say that right up front. I absolutely do. But I already did it. But also, what would have been maybe the day last week that ever would have released it, the SAG AFTRA unions, Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Theater and Radio Artists, all decided they were going to join the strike too. Now, because here's the thing, Here's the thing. I had talked about the fact that if the actors and AFTRA, we'll just call them that, if they join on the strike, things are really going to grind to a halt. And guess what happened? So I didn't want to release an episode. I'm just explaining this real quick. I didn't want to release this episode and people going, yeah, John, that fucking already happened. What the fuck? Because people don't understand how this works. But yeah. And by the way, if you do a podcast and it's live, it's not a fucking podcast. Anyways, I'm just commenting on this now. I've really been reading some comments and seeing stuff, online chatter through different channels and places that people are upset about this. Some people are mad. They think that writers get a ton of money. I know that the actors tend to get more money, especially the pretty faces that you see on the screens a lot of the times. Yeah, those people get money. But the thing is, you got to realize, like, what is it? The average screenplay? Like you yourself, man, woman, or child, whatever you may be, whoever you are, you yourself could be for the first time in front of a panel of people at Paramount Studios, at Universal Pictures, and they would say to you, hey, you, whatever your name is, we would like to buy your movie, right? And then those people will go, we're going to give you $100,000. And you're going to go, excuse me? And they're going to say, take it or leave it, $100,000. And you're going to go, well, I guess I'm going to take it, right? It's $100,000. That make a huge difference in my life, right? But here's the thing. They have to do it because they have to go forward, and then hopefully they'll be able to sell something else. But the studios or the production companies, whoever decide to make this movie, will take this script. They'll pay you $100,000 and you'll never see another dime. So take that on a scale of making a major motion picture and writing it, and then taking it all the way down to people who make some very important, very impactful, very entertaining content, and they write the words that come out of those people's mouths. They're the ones who aren't getting paid much. I'm saying on the smallest, the TV shows, all the fucking streaming content that's out there nowadays, right? They're the ones who are not getting paid what they should. One of the best quotes I saw from anybody who's a writer who is talking about why they're on strike was from Alex O'Keefe. And he is one of the writers for the TV show The Bear, which you can see on FX. I have not seen season 2. I've only seen season 1, but it's summertime and my kids keeping crazy freaking hours. And my wife doesn't like to watch this. I don't think she would like the show. She might. She's shown no interest. So I just haven't been able to watch it. And every time I do have a chance to watch it, I'm either working on something else or just, I'm just not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. I swear that show gave me PTSD from all the stuff I remembered, and that's just other things. Being so busy, you don't know what to do next. It's just craziness. Yeah. It was, anyways. But Alice O'Keefe was a writer on that show. Now, it won awards. It actually won a WGA award for best comedy. And this guy, Alice O'Keefe, who if he's writing stuff like this, he's probably got a very bright future. However, when the whole process of the Bear winning an award was happening, Alice O'Keefe was living in an apartment where the fuses were blowing. It was having electrical issues in the house. He could barely pay the rent. He had to rent his tuxedo on a credit card so he could go to the award show for his best comedy, which The Bear is not a comedy. They need to recategorize that, but that's okay. It's all right. I don't know what you call it. Drama. Drama can be funny as well as serious, but I digress. But that's what he had to do. And his quote from a New York Times article that was published a couple weeks ago, he was saying that Hollywood, the studios, and everything they want to do, because there's just so much stuff out there now, they're just cranking out things and it's become sort of an assembly line. And that can't happen. So if you want to keep seeing what these people make, even at a base level, and I'm using base level for lack of a better term, I guess. I'm just trying to say you got to have this before you. A lot more people write streaming shows and do stuff like that than write multi-million-dollar movies. Which, by the way, I was talking about the writer for the screenplay. You will get more money as a screenwriter once you've had you got an Oscar under your belt right? Got an Oscar under your belt, and that, maybe some of the actors in the movie won or at least got nominated. Yeah. That's when you start getting some moolah. That's why when you always see a first-time screenwriter, right? Whenever you see one of them at the awards show and they just won for best picture, that's what they're like. That's why they're so ecstatic, because they know they're about to get paid. I'm just saying. I'm not saying all of Hollywood works like that. I'm not saying I know everything about Hollywood. What I am saying, though, is that this is very common knowledge to a lot of people if you just kind of research it a little bit and are into it, which is what I guess my situation is. But I support these people. If anything, one thing I was reading on Twitter, I forgot who shared it. It might have been Mark Hamill. I follow him on Twitter. I think, was it him? Point being, somebody was saying they were going to write a nasty email to the WGA. And it was like, why? Why are you mad at them? Be mad at the people who are giving $20 million bonuses to their CEOs. And you got writers for that same company that have to rent a tuxedo on their credit card. They can't just pay for it. Like, there's no hookup from the people who, pay for the show, who make the show anyways, or who put it on the network or whatever. No money comes to these writers to help them pay for stuff like that. And that's, these people are not getting paid enough. Yeah. So when you're going to sit there and you give people, a CEO, a $20 million bonus, and you're telling me, well, we're losing money. Well, I can tell you where you're losing a chunk of it. I can tell you that. How much, what do you do as the head of a studio that you can make $20 million? I get it. It's a high responsibility job. I don't even know. I mean, I watched Entourage. I know that, right? I know what heads of studios do, I guess. I don't fucking know. I love that show. I was one of my own Lloyd, by the way. I was one of my own Lloyd. Yes, I did. Yep. I was one of Lloyd for an assistant. Either that or a British lady. My series British. Anyways, I'm just saying. What do these people do running these studios where they're like, yeah, I deserve $20 million a year just for going, let's make this project. Let's not make that project. I'm sure there's more behind it. I do hope they figure this out, because it is going to get, it's going to be interesting, because, the studios have stuff in the can, or that you might have never, that you maybe would not see, or maybe something on shelves. The production companies have that, or two. There's different ways and means. They're going to keep trying to make stuff, but it will eventually start to get a little stale. So we need to hope that this gets resolved soon. At the same time, you wouldn't want, whatever your job is, you wouldn't want to be underpaid for it. You wouldn't want them to, we've all worked at companies where we felt like we were underappreciated. I think there's not a single person listening to this podcast, or even in life in general, that hasn't been doing some sort of a task for a reward, whatever it might be, and felt like, maybe I'm not getting enough reward, because these people seem like they're getting a bunch of rewards and I'm getting this little teeny thing. I want more. That guy got 20 million of them. What the fuck? Right? That's what I'm saying. My kiddo likes Colbert, Late Night with Colbert. Loves Colbert, man. And we were watching the night. The episode was so old, he was on The Daily Show. So, all right. See, there you go. I could do some monologues. Geez, I'm way too late for a monologue. Wow. What have I been talking about? All right. I'm going to take a break, actually, right here. I'm not sure. I might be structuring my commercials a little bit different. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to take a quick break. Don't forget you can support the show, John D. PodCom on Venmo, John D. Podcast, John D. Comedy on Twitter. I'm on the new Threads, everybody. You guys on the new Threads? Huh? You guys want to come be one of my 14 followers on that thing? I don't know. I haven't really posted much on there, because I don't know. I post stuff and it's like screaming into an abyss. All I see on there are blue fucking check marks. Like, it's just a million of them. Everybody on there is just verified. I'm not verified for anything. I I've been verified how to serve safe food. I've been verified to give CPR, right? I've been verified by, I don't know. I think I might leave it at that as far as what I'm verified for. Anyways, point being, I'm on Threads. John D. PodCom on Threads and Instagram. John D. Podcast on Facebook. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about NHL. I know it's been passed by a little while. For a little while, the season's been over, but I got to address some of my critics on that. And we're going to talk about people throwing stuff at people on stages. All right, stick around. More John D. Podcast right after this. And welcome back to part 2 of episode 54 of John D. Podcast. I'm your host, John D. Miller. How was your break, everybody? How was it? You may have noticed that you didn't hear the BlendJet commercial on this during that commercial break. However, you can still do my promo code and still support the show at the same time. John D. Pod 12. If you go to BlendJet, blendjet.com, John D. Pod 12 for, I think right now my code will actually give you the same price as what the deal that they're running. I believe that's what it is. You definitely will get free shipping if you go use my code, John D. Pod 12 for 12% off and free shipping, and you support the show. I actually make money off of it, so you can still get it even if you didn't hear the commercial. So, and if you didn't hear any commercials at all, depending on where you're listening, did you enjoy the silence? Did you enjoy the silence? Did you get some thinking done in the however long that was? Probably not very long. I don't know how that works, because some of these platforms that I know that this stuff goes out to, it's nothing. It's nothing there. I'm like, I'm taking a break, and then it just comes back. And people are like, I've actually had people write me, say something to me. Like, hey, yeah, I was listening to it on such and such, and I'm in such and such place, and nothing. So, I don't know. I don't know why that happens. I don't make the rules. So, I know the NHL has been over for a while now since the Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. I know. I picked the Florida Panthers to win, and I got a little grief for it. I thought you knew hockey, John. I do know hockey, you sons of... Hey, you know what? You never know what's going to happen. A lot of people did not pick what happened in the playoffs. And congratulations to Vegas. No, I did not think that Vegas was going to be that physical and that they were heavy duty. And Aiden Hill, the goalie, stood on his freaking head the entire playoff run. Who plays for Vegas, had the playoff of his life. I know not everybody on here is a hockey fan, but I'm going to talk about this. So congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights. I did not see that happening. I didn't even have them getting past the second round. So was the second round? Yeah, I think it was. But you know what? Like I said, nobody knew what was going to happen. It was a good playoff. And congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights. Although I did hear rumors, and I hate hearing about this in any sport, that some of the fans in Vegas were a little bit raucous in a negative way. I'll put it that way. But whether that's true or not, they still won. GM George McPhee, he used to be the general manager for my Washington Capitals. It has been the GM since he left the Caps. He's been the only GM for the Golden Knights, and he built himself a pretty good squad. I got to admit. He definitely knows more about hockey than I do. I'll definitely say that. But, apparently it doesn't take much, according to some of you. So, and of course, we moved into free agency, which, hey, some big signings, some not so big signings. About the Caps real quick, I'm kind of mad that they did not try to bring back, or at least were not successful in bringing back some of the guys they traded the deadlines for. Lars Eller went to the Penguins, for Christ's sake, after he got traded to Colorado, then he became a free agent. Yeah, went to the Penguins. Awesome. Orlov went to Carolina. Come on. Ugh. Yeah, that's hockey for you. That's hockey for you. Anyways, I just want to address the critics on that. And it'd been a while, and the last time I made an episode, I know, it was a while back, I had picked Florida. I really thought they were going to win. I don't know. It really was a toss-up, I think. All right, so let's talk about this. All right. I really just don't understand the mentality of what's been going on lately with people throwing things at artists on stage when they're trying to perform. Many people might have seen the Baby Rexha incident. Bebe, I don't know. I know Bebe's kids. That's what I know. Robin Harris, great comic, passed away way too soon. I know that, baby, but this is Bebe Rexha, BB Rexha. But she was doing a gig in New York, I believe. She comes out on stage, and she just gets hit in the face by a phone. Like, why would you throw your cell phone at a person walking onto a stage to go sing a song? I mean, are you that mad at AT&T like I am with your outrageously pricey cell phone playing? And it hits baby, whatever, hits her in the face. She like drops to her knees, was thrown by some moron in the crowd. And apparently they found the guy. Apparently they went looking for the dude, and he was like, here I am. Like, really? He's like, yeah, I thought it'd be funny. And supposedly he told some people that in an interview or something like that, that he thought that she would pick it up, take a picture or something, and then give it back. Hey, he's never getting that phone back. He shouldn't, in my opinion. That guy should not get a phone ever. He should get one of those little toy phones that looks like a face. Remember you had that when you were a kid? Yeah, he should get one of those. That should be the phone he has to use for the next year. It'll work. It'll work just fine. I want it to work just like a normal phone. He can call people. He can text. I don't know. He can make it work. But it has to look like that little rolling phone. And it has the face on it. Little, you know what I'm saying? The little kid's toy. He's got to have one of those for the next year for what he did. That's just dumb. That's completely stupid. I don't understand. And then Mr. Harry Styles, who I can't say his name with a straight face. I'm sorry, I can't. Even hearing his name, they're like Harry Styles, and I go, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't pretend to be the most mature person in the entire world, but for some reason, it always. Anyways, Harry Styles, he has been hit in the eye, not once but twice, if I'm not mistaken. But I know at least one time. He's been hit by stuff before. One of the times being was a Skittle. Somebody threw Skittles on the... I don't know, is virtual reality really fucking people up that bad that they think it's acceptable? Like, do they not think it's real? I don't get it. You know, who was her name? Lotto? I saw a video of her, which... Okay. Whatever. I'm not pretending that she's my kind of music. But, you know, she's up there. She was, I don't know. She is shaking her buttocks. And, yeah, but she was doing it. And she goes walking across the stage, and you just see, I don't think I ever saw what it was, but somebody just threw shit up there. And she's like, she was walking right towards it. If she had walked a little bit faster, it would have hit her. Do you guys remember what was it? Green Day. Right? It was at Lollapalooza, and somebody, what's it, Billy Joe Armstrong, the lead singer, somebody threw, they're in a field. It's a muddy field. It's been raining. They're in a goddamn field festival. And but somebody threw this giant gob of mud and hit Billy Joe right in the guitar. Didn't hurt, but it literally hit his hand. Like he couldn't play. It was just covered in mud. And it may not have been that show, but I remember seeing the footage, and he just literally just dropped the guitar, and he jumped into the audience, or he tried to. Yeah. This is the thing. This is not interactive shit. You're supposed to hang out and watch the people. I don't think there's any time that you should ever throw stuff at people on stage, unless you're throwing a little moolah up there because they're giving you a good show. Now, that being said, right? This is be realistic, okay? That being said, you shouldn't throw stuff at these people. They don't want that. That's not what they want. I don't think Harry Styles is like, I really hope that they throw Skittles at me tonight, and right during that one part of the song where I spin around. You know that song? When I'm wearing my fur-covered suit. Have you seen the outfits, by the way? I'm just saying. Who thinks it's a good idea to throw shit on stage? I don't know how anybody would. It doesn't seem to make sense. That's not what they want. Stop it. I don't think I ever had anybody throw something at me on stage. Like, No, I take that back. I did. I had a woman throw a napkin one time, like a linen napkin, which I don't like. They have those in this. What kind of comic club is this? Yeah. That's the problem with people. We just don't care anymore. Yeah, I'm just going to fucking throw this shit. Why? Because I suck. That's why. I suck. I suck at life. So I'm going to throw some shit at people. It's so stupid. It's so freaking dumb. Stop it. Please. Okay? Just stop it. You're not helping the situation. You're not making anything better. You're not adding to the show. It's not funny. Knock it off. Okay? Just knock it off. The Harry Styles thing, the footage I saw, you can go on anywhere online. Harry Styles hit in the face by Skittle. And you just look it up. And it's on there. And you'll see. And he kind of does some move, and then he kind of spins around. And he's like, oh, you can see. It's like, oh. And he's trying to, like, wow, that stung. And he kept on going. If I got hit in the eye by a Skittle, I don't care what kind of sort of performance I was doing. I don't care if I was playing a giant stadium. You hit me with a Skittle, I'm out of there. I'm out of there. I mean, I might pick it up and eat it, depending on what flavor it is. But no, you don't do that. Because you never know what people did to it. Maybe that's what it was. They're like, eat my Skittle. You'll trip balls, right? Trippy Skittle balls. Nobody wants you to do that. But he was a trooper. I would not have done it. I definitely would not have done it. Somebody asked me, it's weird. I talk about so many different things on this podcast. And some people go, well, I like when you talk about hockey. And I like when you talk about politics. And other people go, I like when you talk about more nerdy stuff, like Star Wars things. And some people go, I like when you don't talk, John. And I go, well, then why are you listening to the podcast? And they said, for when you don't speak. So I really do think that some people listen to this podcast because they like to hear the silence in between my voice, right? You're always welcome to say, hey, John D., why don't you talk about such and such again? All right. Let's talk about our charities real quick, and then I'm going to have my final thought. So yeah, see, I'm doing that now, so you have to stick around. You don't start out like looking for something else to listen to. Like, well, he's just doing the charity. I can go, no, I have something to share with you after this. But first, I want to say, let's talk about our charities, all right? No Kid Hungry. Many school-age children are in situations where the best meal of the day comes from school. No Kid Hungry helps children with meals when children in need are away from school, such as weekends, holidays, or, as in right now, summer vacation. Wounded Warrior Project. The brave men and women who have served our country deserve the best care we can give them after they return home. Some of them have wounds that are external and or internal that they may need help with, or even just accessible housing. BestFriends.org is making a difference by helping homeless dogs and cats in shelters be adopted faster and in more numbers. Their goal is to have the entire country no-kill shelters by the year 2025. So that's No Kid Hungry, Wounded Warrior Project, BestFriends.org. As always, I continue to say, anything for Ukraine. Anything for Ukraine. Okay? Anything for Ukraine. I'm just saying. Until that conflict ends, that is a constant, okay? And as all the other ones, okay? They're all good charities. And after the charity, if you got a little time for a little chair on me, you can support the show, John D. PodCom, on Venmo, okay? So, again, I'm sorry it took so long to get back to you. I go in spurts, but I do this when I can because I like to do it. I like to sit here and talk on the microphone. I enjoy doing it. I like to hear myself talk, I guess. And I appreciate everybody out there who likes to hear me talk as well. There's quite a few of you now. When I get going, I feel like I don't do one, and then you kind of fade off, and then maybe you come back. Oh, he's doing them again? Yeah, no, all right, taking a break. Okay, we'll be over here when you need us, right? But I did actually go up to the Richmond Funny Bone. The Richmond Funny Bone, which is here in town. Called up my buddy Kenny Wingle, who I hadn't seen in a very long time. I texted him and I said, hey, man, how's it been going? And he said, yeah, no, come up to the Clash of the Comics, and you can hang out, maybe do a little judging, which I felt really strange about doing because a lot of the people that were on the show, it's a competition, were people that I've met recently, and I'm trying to, be cool. Hey, what's up? But they all did a really good job. Every single one of them, actually. It was really kind of funny because I was reminded at one point. I went up there, I was standing there, and I was talking to some of these guys, and I was standing outside, and then Kenny came out to do that. They always do open mics or whatever. They had a little comics meeting, discuss the order, make sure everybody's there, call everybody's names. And then when he started doing that, I stepped out of the way so he could do his thing. And I remember sitting over there, standing on the side. I was standing on the side. I didn't want to walk through his situation to go back inside off the patio there. And I just was looking at these faces of these mostly young comics, and it brought back so many memories. It brought back so much of times where I'm sitting there going, man, I so completely remember being there. It wasn't fear. It wasn't nervousness necessarily. Definitely in some. And I know I've been there. I probably look like that. If you put me on a big show, I'm sure I would look like that. I'm a comic. Comics get like that no matter what. You can be doing comedy for a long time. You go through something in your head before you're going to go out there, just like you do anything else. Just, sports people, whatever. If you're going to do your big thing, got to get fired up for it. But I just remember looking at these faces of these comics, and I remember being there. And it was one of those things. It made me think. There are times that I feel, and I know other people out there do because I correspond with you in different ways. You feel sometimes. You do feel sometimes like, okay, I got this all straight. I got it all down. I'm doing what I should be doing. But what I saw on their faces was one of the things that I think I missed about comedy, because these young comics have really just reawakened something in me. And it is with being around their youth and how much they just, for lack of a better term, they just don't know. But I like it. It's great. They haven't been made bitter and jaded. They're just hopeful. And they're ready to be. We're so ready to just be, that's it. I'm set. There's no challenges. And I was thinking, I'm like, man, I have not challenged myself enough, is what I was thinking. And I saw it in their faces and at a young age. And I think that's one thing that we lose sometimes as we get older. We've lost that ability or that want to be challenged. I'm sure that's why people go skydiving. I'm sure that's why people go bungee jumping. I've done the bungee. It's a little scary. I've done the little slingshot thing. The ones you always see the videos. They always have them on Facebook and stuff, and it's some chick in a tank top, and she flies up, and her boobs almost come out of her shirt, but not quite, because it is Facebook. I don't think we do that enough anymore, because these people, these kids, mostly. I'm 49. I'll say it. They're kids. I mean, I took some time off from it, but I was doing comedy before almost all of them were even born. There's a couple people that were not. But the point is that, seeing it in them, these young people, they're facing fear because they have a dream and they have a goal, right? Like, I say, if you're going to go skydiving, that's great. That's awesome. You like the thrill. But what are you trying to do by skydiving, right? Yeah, it's scary. I give kudos and credit to anybody who's ever done it. I might do it one day. I don't know. I better hurry up, I guess. But I might, right? I mean, I'm doing it as a goal of saying, yeah, I did it. But that's where it stops. These young folks that I saw at the Clash of the Comics are trying to get somewhere with it. They want to be comics for forever. And honestly, that is one of the biggest things I think I ever loved about it, was because I'm facing fear. I'm facing nervousness. I'm facing a challenge, but I have a big goal in it. And I think people lose it. I think people have lost that. I don't want anything to be different. I want everything to be just the same all the time. Don't get me wrong. I'm a creature of habit. So I'm just saying, They so reminded me of it. And you know, all great comics. Some really, really great comics. Great timing, cadence. It's fun to watch that too. It's just fun to watch with these people, these younger folks, and them getting into it. And one of them asked me, he was like, hey, so like you just do like all the same jokes over and over again? I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, no, you write new jokes. He goes, yeah, but when you go on the road, do you always do the same act? And I said, well, that's part of, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what you do. I mean, the jokes seem like they're right off the cuff, and they might be, but no, a lot of times you take this ball of you know, comedy clay, and you get it into a nice round ball, and you take it and you shine it up and you whatever, and you make it a nice, pretty object of comedy, and you take that and you sling it to, you know, you sling it at a bowling alley on a Tuesday night outside of Pittsburgh. Yeah, and that's what you do. It's not always like that, obviously. You have the dream to eventually be like to do the new Tom Segura special where you film it in a big, you know, in the round place. I don't think I could ever do that, but I suppose I hear that's good. I hear it's good, by the way, the Tom Segura special. I don't think I could ever do comedy in the round, though. People behind me, and then you're turning, and then it's like, yeah, I don't know. What the fuck? Carlin did it years ago. I remember watching his special. Yeah, he was in the round. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Because then you say something, and then the people are laughing behind you. You're not used to having people laugh behind you. You're used to people laughing in front of you, maybe to the sides, right? It's got to be a little odd. I don't have Netflix right now, and I'm not going to get them back because they just did away with my $10 plan, you sons of bitches. No, we weren't watching it. We weren't watching it. All right. Anyways. Don't forget Twitter, John D Podcast, John D Comedy. Write to me, John D PodCom. Gmail, Facebook, John D Podcast. Threads, John D PodCom. And on Instagram, executive producers for John D Podcast are Tom Hiccup, that's his voicemail when you call him, and Liz Miller. Thanks to them each for helping make this happen in their own ways. This episode was recorded and produced by yours truly, John D. Miller, in the Amber Tree Media Studio. Don't forget, BlendJet, John D Pod 12 is the code for 12% off and free shipping. No, there was not a commercial for it, but you can still get it and help support the show. It's a very cool product, and I make some money. Like, seriously, I do. Buy one. I could actually take my son and I to a fast food joint just by buying one of them. I'm not going to tell you the amount. I'm just telling you that. Okay, so BlendJet, John D Pod 12. If the code doesn't work, don't buy it. Well, I mean, you can if you want, but that doesn't mean it should be. I wasn't obligated to run it on this episode anymore. So that's that. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thank you for listening. This has been episode 54, numero 54 in the old Espanol language. That's right. Of John D Podcast. I've been your host, John D Miller. Okay? Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And until next time, which will be definitely after next week, later for you.